Hello guys, so you can see a bunch of lights on the table. Recently I went out and took a bunch of beam shots at a range of approximately 300 feet. I consider that medium range distance, just to show you guys what the beam profiles are on most of these lights. The beam shots will be in the description below, okay? You can view those after this video, or just skip this video altogether and look at the beam shots, because in this video my main goal is just to show you guys all the light in front of you next to each other, so you kind of have an idea what the size of the lights are. And you know, if you got nothing to do, you can hear me ramble, but not too much info in this video as far as specs and all of that. Mostly just my personal impression and what I think about them and how I feel and how I like them versus one or another, and what I think is a good deal, what not. Basically all subjective stuff. So if you don't care about what I think, it doesn't matter. Just go to my website, look at the beam shots, and then look at the specs, and you know, decide for yourself, okay? So on the left, my left here, we have relatively the big throwers, okay? On the right here, we have relatively the big flooders. And in the center here, we have a combinations of some floods and throws, but the smaller size light. So let me see how I should do this. Let's first start with the smaller size, the smaller lights in the middle. That way we can get them out and then pull the other ones in. How about that? Okay? So there is 3 factory stock non-modded light in this bunch, in the beam shots that I recently taken. That's the Lumen Betty TL2, the Lumen Pickle, and the Zebra Light SE600 version 3 Mark III with the XHP35. Okay, approximately 1300 lumen here. The Pickle I borrowed from a friend who wanted me to see the light in person. Well, actually, I wanted to see the light in person, so I begged that he send it over so I could put him in the beam shots video, and kept it a little longer than I expected to show you guys. And I've never seen Lumens, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about them, okay? So, the Zebra Light, as you know, is a very, very nice light. I use this light almost all the time in my beam shots as like a control. The reason I'm using it as a control because it puts out 1300 lumen, which is, when you have about 1000 lumen or north of 1000 lumen, that's a substantial amount of output in any flashlight for that matter. And when you have a light that's this compact, putting out that much output, it's just kind of impressive. And Zebra Light is a really good brand. So I know their ratings are relatively right on. So that's the reason why I use this hose over and over, this light over and over again as a standard, okay? So Zebra Light SE600. I'm going to put this out now and then talk about the next lights, the Lumens. Lots of things to say about this light. They're both stock. The Lumen TL is a dual LED, and the TL2 has 7 LEDs. I believe they're XML2s. They look like XML2s. The Lumen's TL2 also has a red emitter in the center. They both have what seems to be proprietary TIR optics. Extremely nice optics that focus the beam, well, kind of an odd optics actually. For example, the D4VN here that I have, the optics puts all of the lumen in a tight hotspot. Not much spill, okay? Same goes with the, sorry for jumping all over, but just for the purpose of talking about the optics. The MT18VN here with the optics in a similar fashion, putting all the lumen in the hotspot. However, the TL2 and the TL here from Lumens put out a somewhat conventional beam. Like you would actually have a defined hotspot, a little bit of corona, tiny bit of corona, and then you have spill. So I found that very, very odd how they utilized, Lumens utilized optics that were able to replicate a somewhat conventional beam. Do I like that? Kind of. But in my personal opinion, I think it's good for packaging, that you can have a lot less reflector surface area and put out that kind of conventional beam if you're into conventional beam. But in my personal opinion, I prefer optics. Let's just put all the lumens in one large hotspot, because I look at the hotspot and that's all I care about. But that's just me. But the beam is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. The tint that they use in these two lights are very nice as well. Basically artifacts free, just nice white tint. This lupine pickle TL here is relatively expensive, $350, and the Betty TL2 lupine over here is $850, I believe. It has a rechargeable both of these lights have a built-in rechargeable battery pack. I don't sell these lights, so I'm not even trying to sell that. I'm just tell you what I know about them. The lupine here also has a longer battery pack if you so choose. I really, really like the anodizing. It's extremely nice. I have not seen this anodizing on any other light, to be honest. It feels almost somewhat rugged and matte finish rubberized. Not really rubberized. It looks rubberized, but doesn't really feel rubberized. But it looks like a really, really strong finish. Not my lights, too expensive for me to do any torture tests, so I'm not gonna try to scratch it or anything, but they look beautiful, the finish itself. One thing that I don't really like about the lupines are the way that they put the programming order and how much current is pulling. So for example, here level 1 is 0.3 watts and so on, and then level 5 is 45 watts. I don't know. Do people really care how many watts is pulling at certain levels? And they have it all printed here. It's just, well, the LEDs display here indicates the power level, but I don't know. I just think it's kind of excessive. They're the only one that's doing it. I guess they have their reason behind it, but I think it kind of destroy how beautiful, sleek these lights are. Because you can see here, these lights are almost, well, they're basically no, what do you call it, knurlings on it. They're basically no knurlings, so they're relatively slippery. But it's not too slippery because of the finish that I was telling you about, the kind of a matte, rough anodization. But so it's a really nice sleek light, and I like that. We don't really find too many sleek lights because people love to put knurlings and cuts and all kinds of things on their body. But these lupines has a really nice sleek body. Something that I would definitely see, because these are made in Germany, and you can really tell that this is like a European design. Not too overdone, very sleek. So I like that very much. But the prints, that's against the purpose in my opinion. They should have just put that on a manual or something. So I don't know if Lupine cares, but if I was Lupine, I wouldn't put it on there. Other than that, other than the prints here, relatively minimal prints everywhere else. Okay, so that's really nice. The user interface, pretty good, all right? So they both have this really strong stainless bezel, what seems to be stainless bezel. And it's just a really nicely built light. I think that, you know, perhaps it's even a tiny bit better than Surefire, okay? Yeah, a tiny bit better than Surefire. If not, that's as good as Surefire. But, you know, Zebra light is a good light, and it's not too far off. It's close enough. So, in my opinion, yes, it's this tiny little bit of X factor that makes it extra cool, and possibly I have that feeling because I know that it's really expensive. So I'm probably biased knowing that it's really expensive adds to the effects that is extremely good quality. But from what I see, it is extremely good quality. Would I pay $350 for the small light? Maybe. Would I pay $850 for the bigger light? I don't think so. But that's just me, all right? But lupines are extremely well-built light that are actually made in Germany. So I have them in the beam shots. You can kind of compare and see what a really good factory light is like compares to a bunch of modded lights. Okay? Out of the way of the lupines. All right, let's start off with the little one here. This is a, as you guys all know, this is a MSR D4VN, all right? On these lights, all I do is change out the optics and sometimes the LED. It's a really nice flutter. It's possibly the most compact. Yeah, it's possibly the most output for the size, for that matter, right? So nothing smaller than this or nothing this size or smaller puts out more output. So this is a very, very hot selling light, mostly due to the price also. It's a relatively good price. The two light next to it, or P60 host, okay? One has a quads in it, and one has a typical conventional reflector with an SST40. Really nice drop-in. Both of these drop in are really nice, sell really well. Really nice P60 drop-in. The host is just a P60 host. You can have a ton of different P60 hosts. The two quads here, I would say that the P60 VN heatsink better than the D4 VN. The reason is because the D4 just doesn't really have any mass to heatsink. So it puts out a lot of lumen, drops really fast, but that's just the nature of the beast, okay? The P60 VN would stand max output a bit longer because it is mounted on a solid, thick copper heatsink, and then you can also add a bunch of different bezel. P60 hosts or Lego lights, as you know. So you can have different tail caps, different body and head, and you can build it to your desire. Surefire Z2 P60 body. Surefire pioneered this design. Alright, let's just leave them in here. Okay, this is a G25 C2 VN. Now, we haven't really gotten to the true throwers yet, okay? I'll pull them out and we will see, compares the thrower and the flutters. Here are two versions of the G25 C2 VN. One has the SST40 dome on and one has the shaved dome. They both put out excellent beam without any artifacts, or with very, very minimal artifacts in the shaved dome. The cool thing about EagleTax is their reflectors are not perfectly smooth. They're kind of like 95% mirror finish and then 5% ultra fine, I don't know, textured. Not really. They're smooth reflectors. They're just not mirror finish, and that greatly helps in beam quality. So if you ever have, if you have an EagleTax, take it out, look at the reflector and compare it to, like, say an ace beam. So you will see that yes, you sacrifice a tiny bit of throw, but I'm willing to sacrifice that tiny bit of throw for a much improved beam. With an EagleTax, you rarely have the ever so slightly donut hole effect of a smooth reflector, where you have, you know, the center of the hotspot is slightly less intense than the surrounding of the hotspot. This is also a light that is very popular in the law enforcement field, okay? Although it sells 50-50, shaved dome and dome on, the feedback that I get back more leans towards the dome on. The reason is because, and honestly, I sometimes, because based on the feedback, I steer some of my customers to go for the dome on G25 C2. Very nice built tactical light, rubber switch here, very strong clip, all of that. So it's a really perfect tactical light. But on top of that, with the dome on SST40, it puts out a relatively large hotspot. And I use 7,000 Kelvin tint, so it's extremely white, blinding effect for tactical use. And because it's a dome on, it's reduced tunnel vision of the shaved dome. So you get less throw, but more output. So that's kind of the way I would recommend a tactical light. Have less of a tunnel vision light. It's so bright already that it's gonna blind the target no matter what. So dome on is likely what I would recommend for a tactical purpose. Less tunnel vision, more output, light up a wider area, especially at greater distances. However, if you're not going to use this light as a tactical light, then go for the shaved dome version. You get more throw, and I guess that's more interesting always, that you get more throw. I am missing, with this beam shot shootout, I didn't have the U21 VN, but that is the bigger version of the U22 VN. So basically they're the same light, just the other one's bigger. Yes, the U22 VN throws quite a bit more than the U21 VN, the U22 VN, okay? But I really like the U22 VN because it has the larger, the smaller 21-700 cell. The cell is a little bit thinner, less fat compared to 26650, but it packs almost the same juice. And with USB retain, really good throw. I just really like this light, and you know, it looks really fat in the picture because we're so used to looking at the U21. Now that when we see the U22, we kind of think that it's the same size. It's not. It's barely bigger than you know, the lights on here. The head's bigger, yes, but the body, the height, is not all that big. So it's a really nice light. One of my all-time favorite Manker. Manker don't make a lot of lights, but I love Manker. We'll talk more about Mankers, you know, if we have time, okay? So, Manker U22VN Dome On is also my recommendation, okay? You can get the Oslan version for ultimate throw, but I don't know. I believe there are better lights for ultimate throw, like the U21VN, Oslan for sure. U22VN SD, larger hotspot, over like about 2000 lumen. That's amazing, okay? Love this light. As a matter of fact, I'm going to push the light that I highly recommend forward, okay? So, D4VN, the G22VN, P60VN is either you love it or you hate it. They're kind of a classic, so not much to recommend there, okay? The L30VN, the light that I feel is greatly underrated, even by me. I'm not a fan of this light. I'm not sure why. It has great performance, but this light is great in SST. It also has the SST LED, so you can have it on Dome On or D-Dome. Driver VNX2 also. I'm not sure why I'm not really a big fan of this light. Mostly, I don't know, likely because it's a little bit taller. So it has almost about the same performance as the U22VN, just a tiny bit longer. So that's likely the reason why I'm not really into it. Although AceBeam does have an edge on build quality for now. So I've never I've sold quite a few of these actually, of the L30VN. I just don't really steer anyone towards the L30VN unless their criteria matches it exactly. D1SVN, okay? Both of these lights here. One made with SST40 shaved dome and one made with the Oslan. Okay, so these two lights, odd, because I'm a hardcore thrower fan. And the D1SVN with the Oslan throws, amazing. The tiny little hot spot, way out. But for some reason, I don't know why, I prefer the D1SVN with the SST40 shaved dome. So it's still got good throw, higher output, and for some reason, I just like it more. I am not sure why. I don't know. Even though the Oslan is an amazing light, I'm not sure why, okay? The D1SVN has all the recipe of a light that I really like. Huge reflector, ultra short, center switch, everything's perfect. Never grew to like it. I don't really know why. Okay. Wowtac A3VN. This is a medium general purpose zoomy. Okay. They come with the Oslan LED, so you get decent throw, decent zoom. I find it rather tall for an 18650 light. You can see here is quite a bit longer than the D4VN, and in its full zoom length is even longer. So I find it a tiny bit long, but I guess that's just the nature of zoomies. They're a bit longer. Okay. However, I will have a little surprise for you in a bit. EagleTac S200C2VN with the Oslan. This light is amazing, okay? I don't even know if I still have this light on my store for sale, but it's amazing. Nice, perfect beam. Not sure if you can see it, but it's perfect. The beam is perfect, all right? No artifacts, throws like crazy. Excellent to be mounted on a rifle. Love this light. I'm not even sure if I'm still selling it, but I'm gonna put it forward because I like it that much. Lumen Top SD26. So why would you even consider this light? This light is the kind of light that you want at 26650 for the fat battery, okay? But you also want good, decent amount of throw. So you get an Oscillon LED in here, so you have relatively good throw. However, with the exceptionally shallow reflector in this light, the hotspot of the Oscillon is actually kind of big, right? You'd be surprised at how large the hotspot is on the SD26, because if you know anything about Oscillon, they make tiny little hotspot. So I find this light quite interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a really compact 26650 light that throws a larger hotspot. Kind of cool. Do I recommend it? It's hard to recommend a light that you don't use a lot, so I'm just gonna keep it in the back. All right. All right. So Countryman B1VN. This is kind of like one of those budget lights that I find online. I was like, you know, hey, this looks kind of cool, and then I was extremely impressed. It has a very good, what seems to be glass aspheric lens. And this is zoomy, but it's a twist zoomy. So very nice. You can feel that, you know, if it says Phoenix on here or Ace Beam or something, I'll be like, wow, okay, right on. Because the quality is that good. I can't believe a light that I've never heard of, Countryman, is actually that good of a build quality. And the beam is actually really nice. Check that out. So that's the flood beam, and then you twist it in, you get the throw beam, okay? This light only comes with the Oscillon LED. You can have other LEDs if you want, but you gotta message me separately for that. But look at this. Here's the cool thing about the Countryman B1VN Zoomy. As a matter of fact, this is possibly the best compact Zoomy on my store right now. Look at the A3VN Zoomy and the much compact, well, it's a much bigger head, much more, what do you call this? Much more, it's just much bigger and much more throw, okay? You have a much larger lens. So you would expect the light to grow taller accordingly, but no. See, if you look at the lens here, it's actually a very steep curve, convex, as opposed to this more shallow convex. So this suggests that this throws a lot better, and it does. And look at them, they're relatively the same height. Even when we zoom out to the full height, the A3VN is still, you know, they're relatively comparable in terms of size. So that's really impressive for a much larger head and much better heat sinking for that matter, okay? That's nothing bad I can say about this B1VN. So if you want a Zoomy that's compact with an 18650, this is it. This is just really, really nice quality. Okay, so that's a really good Zoomy. Alrighty, flutters. We talk about the flutters at the end. All right, so next up, we'll talk about some of the throwers. Let's put these in here. So far, I'm gonna take these out of sight and then just leave the ones that I feel are like Hall of Fame lights. All right. So far we have the G25C2, U22, S200C2, wow, 2 EcoTac, and a B1VN, okay? And a D4VN. Of those bunch, these are the ones that I feel are excellent, all right? So, recently I've tried out Sorfern. And what do I think about this brand? I think that it's a decent quality budget brand. The anodizing feels pretty good, better than a budget light, but not as good as the Countryman B1, because the Countryman B1 here, the anodizing is better than EcoTac. Okay, the machining is better than EcoTac. The build, in all fairness, I think it's better than EcoTac in terms of build quality, even though EcoTac is really good. So it's better than Anchor. So this is actually up there with like Ace Beam, with Phoenix. Not quite Phoenix, but Phoenix and Ace Beam are kind of really close now. But so it's up there. It's really, really close. All right. This Sorfern, that's such an odd name, Sorfern. C8F. Okay, it's kind of like the first C8 body style light, but this one has 3 individual reflector wells. So I played with it, tried out a bunch of different LEDs, and then surprisingly, I was really impressed with the 3 Ocelon LED that I was able to put in here and focus a decent beam. And with the mod, I actually utilized the entire reflector, solid reflector here that's made out of aluminum, and combine that, integrate that into the heatsink of the light. So with the stock light, the reflector is just sitting in no man's land, not really doing any heatsink, and is heavy. Now I'm able to integrate the mass of the reflector into the heat sinking of the light. So that, and the light itself has a really good heat sinking design as well. So now the entire mass of the light will heat sink the 3 Ocelon LED. So it's a really good light, throws really nice beam. It's like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 1800 lumen. It's almost 2000 lumen. And what does it throw? It throws 140 kcd. So that is really impressive throw for something this size at that output. I don't think anything put out close to 2000 lumen like this one does and throw out 140 kcd. So this is a really, really impressive light. However, I think Sorfern has a little bit of a way to step up their attention to detail. For example, Sorfern C8F here, it's not really printed like lateral to the light, you know? It's kind of a little tilted, and just that tiny bit of attention to detail goes a long way for me, at least. It has all the minimal prints on here, C8, ROHS, and the non-recyclable, non-disposable, recyclable logo on it. Yeah, so it's a pretty basic light. Incredible performance. I think the price is like $123. I don't have this, unfortunately. When I did the beam shots, I didn't have this light in the beam shots. I wish I had it, because for this size, nothing throws better. At least nothing throws better with this much output. So this is definitely a light in a class of its own. Okay, and yes, I haven't tried it enough. I haven't run it enough to see how it all holds up. But performance alone is a recommended light. Okay. So I'm going to have it in the front here. Alright, so the T21VN, okay? This light with the Ocelon LED are like a pair from heaven. It's like almost like the T21VN. The Ocelon LED was made for the T21VN host. The reflector is not too big, but just perfect. It's like the perfect size. It's like the perfect size to focus, to make the Ocelon worth it, right? Like for example, here you have a TN42VN, much larger reflector with an Ocelon LED. Yes, it throws like 1.3, 1.5 MCD or whatever on this. So yes, it's a lot of MCD on with a much bigger reflector, but still, you know, you have a tiny little hot spot that you can. It's kind of like a novelty. There's a purpose for it, but for the most part, it's a tiny ass hotspot that's really not going to shine anything unless you're looking through binoculars. All right. The Ocelon, yeah, same thing on the T21. Also very tunnel vision light, but it's much smaller, so it makes sense that the hotspot is all right. It's accepted. It's acceptable that a light this small only have that much output with a small reflector. So I find it really fascinating, okay? That I find it that they're a perfect match. The Ocelon in the T22 is kind of pushing it, because now you have a tiny little LED. So you have a really big light that only puts out like, what, 700 lumen? And yes, it throws forever, but you're only putting out 700 lumen. And you kind of just, if you're not really a flashlight junkie and you're like, hey, what, a light that big only puts out 700 lumen? But look at how intense it is, right? So, yes, it's amazing, but the T21VN and the Ocelon is like a pair from heaven, all right? So now that we are talking about the T22, I love this light. It was the light that I like almost most among all my lights, until the CFT90 version came out. So this light is $400. This light is $600. Yeah, CFT version are expensive, anything CFT for that matters, or FCFT 90 for that matter, is going to be really expensive. So TN42VN with the CFT 90 is $600, $200 more than this light, but you know what? I think it's worth it. I love this host. This is like the perfect thrower host for me. It's not incredibly big, but it has enough reflector area to throw, you know, that you ever need, in my opinion. And the CFT 90, although it's a really expensive light, this is the best light ever, really. This is like the best light on Sky Lumen. The beam is absolutely perfect. No artifacts, nothing. 6500 Kelvin tint looks good. 5000 Kelvin tint looks good. Throw out a huge hot spot. Just nothing. Performance-wise is just perfect. All right. Love this light. And since I got this light, I haven't really played with anything else besides this light. Every time I go out and really need a big light, I have this. To me, 5000 lumen is plenty. And when you have north of 1 MCD, too good to be true. All right. So, but you know, if you don't want to spend $600, but you still want insane throw, actually the Oscillon throw more than the CFT 90. So if you are on a kind of $400 on a budget. What kind of on a budget is $400? So $400 is hell damn a lot of money. But you know, if you want to save $200, which is a big, you know, chunk, and you want that ultimate throw, the TN42VN Oscillon is still the choice, still the way to go. So I know I hate to put the exact same light in this most recommended group, but I have to because they're both really good. The T21-2 is up there in this group. All right. Unfortunately, with the there are several lights that I didn't get to put in. Actually, I'll talk about that in a little bit. Actually, let's talk about the K40VN first. So the K40VN, this one was an early sample where I engraved physically, hand engraved Fiat Lux on it. Put some weird engraving and the hand design on here. Yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but it's one of those very early on K40VN. I sold this to a customer, and then I remember trading something to get it back because it just means a lot to me. So I took this light out for the beam shots, and so pull up the beam shots in the description, and then look up K40VN with the XML2 D-Doll, right? And then compare it to these lights. You're like, wow, that's a really good light back in the days. It's still a really good light. I'm still sincerely impressed with it. It's too bad that Ace Beam doesn't make this cool rotating magnetic ring anymore, but I love it. To me, the K40VN is a timeless light. I've sold so many of this, and this is just a really good light. I will never sell this particular sample for sure, but it holds up. It holds up quite well versus these years of technology advances lights, okay? So, not a light you can purchase, but it's definitely a hollow frame, and it belongs in this really cool group here. I did not have the TN40SVN and the X65VN in the group among throwers. These are not dedicated throwers. They're kind of high output throwers, and I wish I had them at the time, but I didn't. So it's too bad that the TN40SVN and the X65VN are not in the group. Let's talk a little bit about the TN40SVN and the X65VN, which I don't have here. I would pick the TN40SVN over the X65VN any day. Okay, because it's smaller. You have reduced performance, but it's smaller, and it's close enough. Okay. However, from a price perspective, I think this light's like $350, and I think the X65VN is like $550. So you're like $200 difference. Why would I want to pay $200 more? But here's the thing: the X65VN is actually a really good deal because you have a battery pack, built-in rechargeable battery pack. So you kind of not needing to purchase a charger. And you have 8 high-quality 18650. So if you add up all of that, the price is there, and it throws more than the TN40. It's more powerful than the TN40SVN. So in a value standpoint, I think it's actually a better value than the TN40SVN. But you know, the flexibility of a carrier, your own cells, cheaper starting point, smaller light, gets it every time. So the X65VN won't really make it to this group because this light exists. Okay, so TN40SVN is the best high output thrower. Okay, I say these two at the end. Let's talk about the GTV in here. The light that is too big, okay? Which I'm kind of getting used to actually. With the CFT90 LED, it's currently my best thrower. Yeah, nothing throw better than this light at the moment. So the GTVN90 is my best thrower, $675, super expensive. If you want the best thrower, that's no other best thrower, okay? It throws out a chunk more than everything else on the table, so it is what it is. If you're okay with the huge size and the crazy price tag, you have the best light on the best thrower light on Sky Lumen, okay? So this kind of light is kind of like a light that speaks for itself. I would pick the TN42VN90 over this light any day, but for some odd reason, even though this light is more expensive than the TN42, it's still selling more than that. I guess people, numbers sell, okay? That's just how it is, all right? They don't care if it's big or whatever, because the people that buy these lights, they just want the best that I can offer. So this is the best throw that I can offer. Do I feel like it's in this group? Yes, I do feel like it belongs in this group because there's nothing else like it. It throws best. You gotta give it to it. All right. I'm working on a 70.2 version. It's gonna be a little bit cheaper, I hope. $675 for the CFT90. I'm hoping to get like five would be great, but maybe around $550 for the 70.2 version, okay? That version is gonna put out maybe 8,000, 7,000 lumens, something like that. And it'll throw out a large hotspot. It's basically gonna be a really good thrower with a larger hotspot and more output. And it's gonna be a really, really good thrower anyway because of the huge reflector. So it's gonna be, it's coming. It's still under development. Lots of things to sort out. So that version is not ready yet. Yeah, $150 cheaper than this, I think. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. If the build is a little bit easier than anticipated, the price will drop. All right. So GTVN90, the best thrower. This CFT90 LED is kind of like a crazy craze. It's a really expensive LED. The LED itself is $120, but it's making every light I put in it amazing. So the next two Victim, and I picked these lights specifically for the purpose. All right, Olight SR52. Actually, this light is gonna go in my store very soon. Okay, with the CFT90. Yes, it's gonna be expensive, but it's gonna be the smallest CFT90 light on my store. Okay. Hopefully, it's still gonna put out a good 4,000 lumen or more, and it's still gonna put out a decent amount of throw with a really large hotspot. That's the nature, the beauty of the CFT90. Huge hotspot, but really intense. So it has three 18650, so it should put out enough juice to push that CFT90 a good ways, okay? And it's gonna be very desirable, I imagine. It's gonna be a baby version of the TN42, right? So that's what I thought. I thought, you know what? Let's do a baby version of the TN92, and then I'm like, you know what? How about we use the ultra hefty? Okay, it feels to me that the MK35 is even more hefty than the TN92 almost, because it's more compact. I'm not sure which one's heavier, but it feels like this one is more hefty because it's more compact and is really heavy. So mass, 4 cells, perfect, okay, and a really good reflector. It's going to be perfect for the CFT90 host. So expect CFT90 to come in 4 different sizes in the future. All right, GTVN90 is already released, TN42VN is already released, and then we have the MK35VN with the CFT90 and the SR52VN with the CFT90. So I expect these 2 size up to come really soon. I personally think that these 2 lights are going to be really amazing because of the crazy amount of mass that you have on here. You can run that LED almost forever, and then the SR52 is a really small, lightweight light, but then you have a really small CFT90 light, so that's attractive as well. It's coming, all right? All right, so there goes the, of these lights, I don't know. I kind of have a feeling that the SR52VN is going to be in this group, okay? I don't know how the MK, the reason I'm saying that is because I've seen the beam on the SR52 with the CFT90 and it's beautiful. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be in this group, all right? I haven't tried it in this light. I'm going to put it in this light, but I think if the beam comes out perfect, it's likely going to have an R after it, recommended, but that's going to be kind of much because every CFT90 light is highly recommended and they're all expensive, and that's not the way I want it, okay? All right, so let's take a little break, push all these stuff out the way, and then we can talk about flutters. Okay, flutters. So, you know how when you have a lot of lights, you take a bunch, you play with them all the time, but you don't really appreciate them until you shine them side by side with other lights. And you're like, hey, I really like this light for this, and then I like another light for that, right? And then you start, soon enough, you become a flashaholic, and then you appreciate all of them because they all do something a little bit differently. Pure flutters are something like the X7VN. This light has like 21,000 lumen or something. Has 3 XHP70 driven to the absolute crazy max, and 20-something thousand lumen. That's just crazy. From this size, sells like hotcakes, even though it's super expensive. Actually, it's not too bad. I think it's like 2 something. MT18VN. This light, the X7VN used to be my favorite pop can light, okay, flutter. But since the MT18VN came out, all the lumen in one hot spot. Love this MT18VN. The X7VN is no longer the light that I would go to for flutters, mostly because the MT18VN exists. It only puts out like, what, 16,000 lumen, but all that output is in one hot spot. You guys know how it is. I love that. So MT18VN is the best pop can size light, in my opinion. The Noctagon. This light is kind of like a timeless classic. If you're a collector, you just gotta have one of these. It's a really nice. It's basically 4 triples next to each other. Really nice light. Really nice build quality. Everything's perfect. I can rant about this light all day. It's a really good light. The performance is a tiny bit lacking, like say versus an X7VN or an MT18VN. But it's also a smaller light. What do you expect, right? It's the smallest pop can light. So, look at all that output in one hot spot. Okay, so that's a really good light. I would love to put it in here in the recommended group, but I just can't because the output is not really there, and I can't really steer people towards buying something that is not really class leading, okay? Through Night TC20VN, a recently released light, relatively recent, and this one has triple SST 40. All right, you can have them in shade film or don't mind, but this light is just amazing. Okay, nothing this compact puts out this much lumen. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, I don't think I can think of anything else that puts out this much lumen and throw, and relatively good throw in this compact size 26650 light. Look at how small it is. This is a 26650 light, and it's just tiny compared to the MT18. Look at that. It's just really, really small. I don't have. Okay, here it is. Here is the ST26. It's a very, very compact 26650 light. And look, they're really close. See that? They're really close in size. And the ST26 is extremely compact. But the cool thing is you have like 700 lumen with the Oscillon. You have like, what is it? Like over 2,000 lumen or something like that? I don't know. Yeah, possibly more than, no, almost 4,000 lumen if I'm not mistaken. At least like 3,000 or 3,500 lumens or something like that. All right, so that's a 3,700 lumen. I don't know. north of 3,500 lumen from 3 SST40. So 700 lumen, 3,500 lumen at least, and look at that, they're about the same size. Yes, it doesn't throw as well, but that's a lot of lumen. Okay, so there you go. Very, very crazy good light. I gotta wrap up this really soon because it's getting way, way too long. All right, MT18, perfect. TK75EN with the 70.2 LED. This light is amazing, but it's too expensive. It's really hard for me to recommend this light because it's just too expensive. I can't remember what the price is, but 70.2 TK75, if you can afford one, it's worth it because it throws quite a bit. TK75VN with the 4 XHP35. So this light is relatively similar to the TN40S. They have the same driver, same LEDs, just smaller. And Phoenix versus through night quality. Which one would I pick? TN40S again, all right? Because there's more performance and it's a tiny bit shorter, although it's small, bigger head. I don't know. This is. I guess I'm picking it mostly because of the size, of the price too, because the TK75 is really expensive, and that reason kind of hold me back from recommending this light over the TN40S. But if you prefer the extra bit of quality, and if you're okay to sacrifice some of the performance, then the TK75VN is a better light. X45VN, currently my mass-produced brightest light on Sky Lumen, 25,000 lumen. Now they're produced with the smooth reflector, so you get a bit more throw. This one just has color anodization. So likely the ultimate floodlight, okay, 25,000 lumen. That is mass produced. I make much brighter lights, but that's like the mass produced light. So that's obviously a really highly recommended light. So if you're looking for a flutter, X45VN or MT18VN. All right, so I guess that's about wrap it up with all the lights. Watch out for the next group of beam shots. I don't know, maybe I'll do another video, I'm not sure, but watch out for the next group of video where I will do just the dedicated throwers at extreme long distance. Hopefully by that time I'll have all the CFT lights out, right? The SR52. I definitely have to have all the CFT lights in that beam shots group because it makes sense. So I know for sure these 4 lights are going to be there. The TN42, the T21VN is going to be in. These are lights I know for sure will be in the group of beam shots. These 5 right here for sure in the extreme long distance beam shots. So watch out for those. All right, if you have any questions, throw them below. I know I ramble a lot in this video, but there's no way around it. All right, thank you guys. Send me an email. Bye-bye.